Hello, everyone. I'm hoping your day has been great so far. Randy Boy with Courageous Healers Foundation. Also, we change your life story now and love your life story. So I got three different entities there. Hi, sis. How you doing? So I'm working real hard, and I'm gonna stay committed to doing these live feeds every week. Most likely, they'll probably be on Mondays. Um, I really don't know what the best time to do it is, so I might shoot for around 11 o'clock on Monday. But what I'm going to do over the course of what my plan to do is I want to discuss the book Healing the Wounded Child Within. And what I'm thinking of doing is I'm going to do a chapter a month. There's 13 chapters in the book, so it'll take about a little over a year. I just got to stay focused on it. I'll make sure I get out and do it every week. So for those of you that don't know, you know me from Healing the Man Within, and essentially all I did was, excuse me, I retitled the book and redid the cover of it. It's still, the content is still the same. And in doing so, it is a international bestseller in 8 countries and in 5 mental health categories. It's number one. So it really helped me just by doing that little bit of work, improve the I don't want to say the rating of my book. So it's a good book. Um, all the reviews are 5+. So, and I'm still getting people, probably 2 to 3 a month. They'll email me or they'll call me and talk to me about my book. So what I want to do is dive into it a little bit each week. But what I'm going to do first, well, with the book Healing the Wounded Child Within, there's 13 chapters in it, and I talk about go anywhere from getting started, where we talk about what sexual abuse is, a little bit about what my story is. A lot of you know it, but in the book it's in there, and I probably won't go into my story unless I get a specific request for that. But we talk about getting started. We talk about reparenting that inner child that we have, and we all have this inner child, and when the abuse starts, we have an innate ability to protect ourselves. So all of a sudden, that inner child, he's kind of put in the back seats, and somehow we step in to protect ourselves and to protect that inner child from being hurt. We talk about the trauma triggers that we all have and coping mechanisms. Talk about spiritual abuse. I talk about the G-D word, which is the God word. Hitting bottom, getting clean, secrets and silence. And secrets and silence is a big one because most of us, I'm going to take this to my grave. So we're living with these secrets and silence, and it really does a lot of damage to us. And it actually ruined my first marriage because I carried the secret into it. And I was full of angst and pain and drinking a lot. So, and then when I met Kathy, I told her about the abuse before we even got married, probably within a couple months of us dating. And she will tell you, and I also believe that that's the sole reason that we remained married through a lot of our rough cycles, because she knew it wasn't me. So I talk about confronting the perpetrator, which I don't recommend anybody does. Talk about blame and shame, forgiveness, and finding our authentic website. The blame and shame, we can sit there and for years, we put the blame on people, and the reality is that for me, the abuse stopped when most of the abuse, the sexual abuse stopped when I was 17. I allowed the physical and emotional abuse to go until I was about 20, but then I abused myself worse than my abusers did. So there's a lot to talk about. It covers a lot in the book. So what I really want to do today, because this sexual abuse topic is such a stigma attached to it, and the reality is when we talk about statistics, a lot of people are completely unaware of the statistics of sexual abuse. They don't even recognize or understand how bad sexual abuse of boys is. So and there's coming out, the 177 boys back in the between 1979 and 1996 were were abused, and these were actually college kids were abused by Ohio State team doctors. So, and there's a lot other than that, and we have the Catholic Church, we have all that. So sexual abuse is alive and well, and it has been for many, many years, and all that is with Sandusky, Penn State, and now with Ohio State. We have also the Catholic Church. What that's doing is just bringing it up in the front, bringing it to the forefront. What's her name, Dan Holder with Nassar, and then that whole group. And there's different ways to look at this. And for years and years, I was really angry about what happened to me, and all I wanted to do was hurt my perpetrators. But the thing about that is, yeah, they have to pay their consequences for what they did. But the thing about getting revenge is it doesn't help us. And so for those that are out there, and God bless them, they're advocates and they're doing what they got to do. But the reality is that it doesn't do no good. I mean, what good is getting revenge going to do for you in the long run? In reality, I mean, you really got to think about that. It's really not going to do a whole lot for you than others say, okay, well, now he's in jail and I don't have to worry about this no more. And we still have the damage that's been done to us as survivors that is left unhealed. And that's, I plotted my stepfather's assassination for 38 years on a daily basis. So, I know what it's like. And, it's once I fully forgave him, got on my healing path, I quit thinking that way. Hey, he's hurt too. These people are all hurt. And it's just getting a point of forgiveness and compassion and empathy. So I know that's hard for a lot of people to grasp, but the reality is that if you want to be truly free and happy in life, that's what's got to happen on your path to recovery. You need to work towards a place of forgiveness. And it's not easy. It takes a process, and you just got to let that go. You got to accept the fact that it happened to you. Yeah, it's wrong, and yeah, these people need to pay the price, but we don't need to go around and assassinate their characters and all that. It doesn't do no good. It doesn't do no good for us. You might think it does, but in the long run, it's really not. And be an advocate for healing for those that have been abused. Be an advocate to get those that have been wounded that have perpetrated. Yeah, we need the advocates to change the law so that they pay the piper, and they pay the piper quickly rather than getting off with a hand slap and maybe a couple of years in jail. I mean, most survivors that are unable to get help live in prison all their life. So anyways, I may keep on going on that and that. I got some really strong opinions that I'll probably talk about along the way, because I disagree with a lot of what's going on out there. I'm more about getting the personal healing so that we can have a happy life. So anyway, what I'm going to do today is real quick, I'm going to go over a bunch of statistics for you. All right. And these are all statistics, and I've searched high and low, and I've come up with statistics that are average or whatever. So we'll start with, there is 1 in 3 girls and 1 in 4 boys are sexually abused before the age of 18. 1 in 3 girls and 1 in 4 boys before the age of 18 are sexually abused. And seeing what I've done out there in the last 12 years is I really believe it's straight across the board, 50%. I mean, it's pretty bad. I've been in groups where almost every man in the group, not a sexual abuse group, just a group of men, has suffered from some kind of sexual abuse. There was that means with those numbers right here in the Coachella Valley, that means, and based on the 2010 consensus, that means there's about 72,249 men and boys that have been sexually abused right here in the Coachella Valley alone. So that's enough for a small county or a small city or a town. So that's quite a bit right there. And the damage is pretty deep. So one is, a study released in 2005 by Johnson et al. It was in a San Antonio County jail. They wanted to see the correlation between chemical dependency and sexual abuse. And the sexual abuse happened in the childhood prior to prison. They have 100 samples. 100% of the samples had chemical dependency issues, and 59% have been sexually abused. So it's like it's worse. It's like 1 in 1.25 men have been abused in that group. So it's a pretty, as you can see, the numbers are a lot higher than people might think they are. And the part about the sad part about this is that only 10% of all the cases are even reported. Okay, so that's why we say that the numbers are much higher. And this is another big one: is 80% of the men that have been sexually abused have substance abuse history. Okay, and most children that are vulnerable between the ages of 12. So you look at addiction and you look at the opiate problem. It's not, people think it's the opiates. Well, we got to solve the opiate problem. Well, no, we'll solve the opiate problem when we start solving the ACEs, the adverse childhood experiences, or their unresolved childhood trauma, because it's a way to mask themselves. And they do it masterfully. Okay. Here's a couple ones that 93% of juvenile assault victims know their perpetrator. So it's not stranger danger. Only 7% are strangers. 93% are family members, family friends. There's somebody within the family structure or within the family circle of friends. So it's not the strangers we got to worry about. I'm gonna hit you up with another statistic here that'll even make it more profound and more like unbelievable almost in a minute here. The offenders are overwhelmingly male, ranging in age from adolescents to elderly. Okay. I think it's 14% of the cases are women. Women have been the abusers. Yes, women can abuse boys, and actually the damage is pretty significant when a boy is molested by an older lady or an older girl. I've heard some horrific stories. So you see that there's a lot that goes on. Let's see. Here's one that when I actually got this, I was absolutely I was amazed. I mean, just blown away. So most men who molest little boys are not gay. You need to get that out of your mind right now. Okay. Everybody says they're gay. They're gay. No, they're not gay. Most men are not gay. Only 21% of child molesters we studied who assault little boys were exclusively homosexual. Okay. And in that, it doesn't matter. If there's 10% of heterosexuals, there's 10% of gay men. So it's 10%. And these are just some really quick statistics. So it's not 10% of straight men and 90% of gay men that are molesting. It's 10%, straight across the board, 10%. 10% women, 10%, whatever it is. Okay, so you can't sit there and say it's gay men, because first of all, sexual abuse has nothing to do with sex. It's all about power, period, in the conversation. It's all about making people feel their pain. Hurt people. Okay. It goes on further on this one. It says nearly 80% of men who molested little boys are heterosexual or bisexual, and most of these men are married and have children of their own. 80% hetero, bisexual, married with their own children. Not the stranger danger. Okay. And that I'll give you the source on that. I got sources for all of these, but this was done by Abigail G. 1987, August of Child Abusers. How can you spot him? Okay, so you can see you can see that the statistics are proof that this is a epidemic. And by the way, these statistics are worldwide. They're not just here in the United States or in a city or in Canada. These are worldwide statistics all over the world. Okay. And I found this interesting too when I was that's not the one, I'm sorry. The cost to our society, is $94 billion annually. $94 billion annually. And that study cites direct costs such as hospitalization, chronic health problems, and law enforcement. Now, the other thing that you need to realize is that Dr. Gabor Mate was a PhD, or a doctor, right, an MD, and he started spending time with his clients who were all chronically ill. The people with diabetes, people with heart issues, people with cancer, people with Crohn's disease, all these chronic diseases. And he started interviewing them. He spent some time at the end of his day in his office, and what he found is that every one of his clients that with these chronic diseases had all been abused in one way or another. A lot of them, most of them, sexually abused as children. Unresolved childhood issues creates a lot of physical issues, let alone the mental issues. Okay, so you need to be aware of that. A lot of stomach issues. I had stomach issues for a long time until I got all this stuff resolved. It also includes the juvenile delinquency, special education needs, and criminal behavior. So it's costly to us as citizens of the United States, and that $94 billion is here in the United States. That's not the worldwide figure. That's here in the United States. Okay, so there's a lot that we need to be aware of, and maybe we can start doing something. Maybe our judicial system can start doing something, but it just doesn't appear that it's a big deal to them, because most people think, well, men just get over it. Damage isn't that bad, and there's nothing that's going to be further from the truth. And as we explore the book, you'll see different ways that it messes us up. I'm going to read one more to you, and this is what is sexual abuse, and this is according to the Penal Code 11-165. Is defined as penetration or external touching of a child's intimate parts, oral sex with child, indecent exposure, using a child for prostitution, the manufacture of child pornography, or any other sexual act performed in a child's presence for sexual gratification. Now, that I saw a lot of that. And here's the one that really got me. It's the child sexual abuse also includes the willful failure of a parent or caretaker to take reasonable efforts to stop child sexual abuse by another parent. By definition, my mother was a sexual abuse. She was a perpetrator. She did nothing to protect me at all. As a matter of fact, it got worse. So there's some, I want to make sure I don't miss nothing. Okay, so there's some statistics and facts for you that I thought we'd start off with so that you can get a better idea of, I just saw all your, I just saw your posts. I had something covering this thing up, so thanks for everybody that's joining me. David and Alex, thanks, man. So anyway, that's that. I'm sorry, I get distracted really. So that's the statistic part of it. I want to make sure everybody sees, and this will be on Facebook. I'm also gonna put this on my YouTube channel. So a couple more things. My book, Healing the Wounded Child Within, is available on Amazon. I also got a 7-day challenge, little tiny mini workbook that's available on Amazon. My 30-day devotional to wholeness, a great devotional for just a single person, but also a lot of our couples were doing it together. And there's 3 contemplative questions at the end of every devotion, and it was really helping them to engage with each other in conversation. So those are all available on Amazon. My book also right now is in the final stages of being Audible. I just approved the Audible portion of it. Now Audible's got it. They're doing what they got to do to it. So that should be available hopefully here in another week or 2, I'm thinking, if not sooner. And I will announce when that's done. I'll probably have some coupons for some free Audibles. The only caveat to that is that if I give you one of these coupons, then I'm going to want you to write a review on the book. Okay. And then one last thing is I have another entity with Topeka Patel, Love Your Life Story. We have these intensive 3-day workshops on the books, one on June 21st, 22nd, 23rd. one in November, and one in August, and one in November. It's a 3-day intensive. So what we're doing, we have a 2-hour introduction workshop to that 3-day workshop. We have one today. If you're here in the desert, it's at Live Well Clinic between 3 and 5. It's free. It's a $297 value. We're just giving it to you to get you in and interested in our 3-day workshop. And they're also having that same 2-hour introduction workshop on Saturday from 10 to 12 at All Desert Wellness in Palm Desert. So, and then these 3-day intensive workshops are pretty intense, but they really, we did these at the Indian reservation for Torres Martinez, and it really helped them Indians turn their lives around. Not everybody, but the ones that really wanted to do it. So anyways, message me if you want to participate in one of those workshops. I'll give you the exact addresses, and I'll see you next Monday. I think I'll do next Monday. I'll try to get here at probably around 11 o'clock again, I think is what I'll do. Yeah, there is, Alex. And why has the world been silent? Shame, and they just rather push it underneath the rug because they don't want to expose families, careers, and all that to it. But there is a correlation between disabilities and sexual abuse. Absolutely, there is. Yeah, Alex's one today, from be there at 2:45, from 3 to 5, and it's at the Live Well Clinic in La Quinta. That's, if you just Google Live Well Clinic, it's off of Miles. I'm sorry, 111 and Adams. It actually is on 47th in La Quinta. So, but if you need the address, let me know. Or if you go on Facebook, Alex, you can kind of scroll down. You'll see the flyer I put on there yesterday. There's a flyer on Facebook. So, okay. Any other questions? Any other comments? Yeah, David, the forgiveness. Forgiveness is actually the key to it, so you can move on. We'll never forget, but we need to forgive. We need to forgive and move on. But I got a whole chapter dedicated to forgiveness in my book. That's how important I feel it is. So, all right. So thanks for joining me today. I'll see you next Monday. We'll go into the chapter 1. I'm not going to go through the whole chapter. I'm just going to pull a subject out of each one. I'm going to work really hard, and I know it's hard. You put a microphone in my hand, I'm in trouble. But I'm going to work really hard on just keeping it to like 15 minutes, okay? 15, 20 minutes at the most. That's my goal, okay? We'll see how it happens. All right, man. You can visit my website, courageoushealers.org. ChangeYourLifeStoryNow.com. ChangeYourLifeStoryNow.com. And also the entity with the workshops is Love Your Life Story. LoveYourLifeStory.com. So ChangeYourLifeStoryNow.com, LoveYourLifeStory.com, CourageousHealers.org. Thanks. Everybody have a great day. And if nobody tells you they love you today, remember, Randy does. Be blessed.